Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel at NDN TV Nigeria. Click on the subscribe button and be the first to get notifications.
Akwa Ibom State Government, accused of profligacy in the 2019 financial year by the media and civil society groups, has been in the eye of the storm in the past few weeks. In this report, correspondent Nelson Ajay gives us details of alleged outrageous budgetary expenditures made in 2019, as well as the response of the Akwa Ibom State Government.
In a recent investigative report published in a local newspaper and some online platforms, it was alleged that the Akwa Ibom State Government fraudulently made extra budgetary expenditure on frivolous items in its 2019 budget. The report revealed how over 10 billion naira was allegedly spent on the purchase of official cars, maintenance of aircraft, special projects, and the governor's hospitality. In their investigation, authors of the report discovered that while 738 million was approved for the purchase of 15 Prado Jeeps in the 2019 financial year, that singular item gulped about 4.86 billion naira in the budget. On the maintenance of an aircraft, the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly had approved 2.5 billion. While the office of the secretary to the Akwa Ibom State Government went ahead to spend over 5 billion. After carrying out a market survey on the cost of purchased items and services rendered to the Akwa Ibom State Government, authors of the recent investigative report came up to conclusion that figures published in the Accountant General's annual report and audited financial statement for the year 2019 were inflated and misleading.
Journalists, through investigative reporting, were able to bring this to the limelight. Civil society organizations like ours were able to do breakdown analysis of the budget and visualize these things in a language that people on the streets can understand. We have seen across the Niger Delta the same scenario playing out. Several states of the Niger Delta, especially those who are top on the list of oil-producing states, we have seen that there is a trend of whimsical budgeting. So year in, year out, you see items being dropped on the budget without actual consideration to whether to price intelligence factors, for instance, to whether those items are actually needed, to looking at even whether those items had been implemented in the previous year's budget. So you see things that had been done before still reappearing in the subsequent year's budget.
The Akwa Ibom State Government has since denied allegations of financial sleaze in its implementation of the 2019 budget. According to the State Commissioner of Finance, Linus Nkang, the government merely relied on the margin of increased costs in the budget office to spend more than what was approved on certain items based on their scale of preference. In another breath, Commissioner for Information and Strategy Eni Ememobong at a recent press briefing in Oyo maintained that the devastating report on financial impropriety was a misinterpretation of an error made in the Accountant General's report, which has been corrected.
This memo effectively withdrew the printed errors, the copies that had the printed errors, and it is stated here. Even laws not made by the House of Assembly or by the Federation of Nigeria, by the National Assembly, at some point where there is an outcry, what do? They don't go to the court, they simply go through the amendment processes as stipulated by law. So this is the process by which a public officer who notices something wrong with a public document relating to the service does. He issues a memo that counters the previous document. So the effect of this memo invalidates the earlier circulated copies and validates the new copy.
For most Akwa Ibomites, the official position on the 2019 budgetary expenditure amounts to doublespeak. The state government's position is further viewed as an attempt to employ damage control strategy to cover its tracks.
Budgets are documents that are there. If there were mistakes in the initial budget, at what point did we realize the mistakes and what did we do about it? There are processes in budgeting procedures that it's against in fact, it is impeachable for you to go outside of the provisions of the budget. But there are certain instruments like environment or supplementary budget that you can go back to the House of Assembly or National Assembly, depending on if you're a president or if you're a governor, and get it adjusted. But looking at the report in the 2029 budget, these processes and procedures were not followed. Number one, certain items were just scandalously, imputed in the budget. It was awful. It was unbelievable. Some things were unimaginable and unthinkable.
If you get an approval to spend money and you have need to go beyond that line, you need to go back to the approval where you got the approval from before you can spend. It's complete misapplication of funds, and the law is straight on it.
Considering that the administration of Governor Odom Emmanuel has been battling to complete projects initiated since 2015, as well as others inherited from previous administration. Its alleged mismanagement of funds is giving concerned citizens of the state a cause for worry.
We are in a very critical period where more of government spending should go to alleviate the suffering of the people. We must discourage, I say discourage with all amount of sincerity, any expenditure that has no direct bearing on the people.
In the last 4 years, the National Bureau of Statistics has consistently ranked Akwa Ibom State among the states with the highest unemployment rates in the country, despite having been the second highest earner from the federal allocation in 2019. With a total receipt of about 168 billion from the national coffers. The state was unable to pay gratuities and pension in that financial year. It appears more difficult times await the ordinary citizens in the next financial year, as Nigeria grapples with a second economic recession in 4 years. It goes without saying that the challenge before the Akwa Ibom State government is to reconfigure its budgetary allocations to align with the needs of the ordinary people who have always been at the receiving end of poor governance in the country.
Inside the Niger Delta,